What's going on, everybody? Hello again, and welcome back to another episode of the Welch Report with me, Jean-Luc Welch. Make some noise, clap it up, get excited wherever you are. We are back with another action-packed episode for you, as we have a bunch of stuff to cover in the world of the NBA, Indy, and boxing. Specifically, my word, both the playoffs have been going around, but the biggest thing has been breaking in boxing as of today. My goodness, Ryan Garcia, cut the doggone music. Ryan Garcia, that butter some hot water. Good gosh, that butter was caught doping. Apparently, allegedly, that's what's been reported by VADA. We got all that to talk about with what this means for that win for Ryan Garcia, as well as so much more. Also on the side of Devin Haney, what this means for him in his potential rematch with Ryan Garcia, if that's now firmly in the works, since this has now been called out as a legitimate doping problem on the side of Ryan Garcia. But all that and more on this show. Also with fights coming up this weekend with Canelo Alvarez versus Jaime Munguia, my final prediction for that fight, and the best fighter in the world, Naoya Inoue versus Nery. What's going to happen in that undisputed defense for Inoue, who I got to win it? We got all that to talk about and more on the show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for listening. And please leave a like on the video, comment your thoughts and opinions, subscribe to the channel, and share the show with everybody that you know, so we can keep on building up this empire together. And also, before we continue, some of y'all have been talking about you want a live stream. Oh my, some of y'all want me to cover a live fight. Well, if I can get this situated, we're going to attempt to do it. We're going to put myself out there. We're going to attempt to do a live stream on the Inoue fight. That's right, Nery versus Inoue. We're going to try to cover that live on this channel for the first live stream that we've ever had on this show. Oh, it's going to be exciting. Hopefully, if I can get it figured out, we'll be able to make it happen, and we'll be able to enjoy it with live commentary and live interactions with you, the fans and the public, to keep on, oh Lord, I don't know what happened there, but to keep on building up this community. To keep on building up this community and to interact further with the fan base that we have right here together. And again, all this is possible because, hey, y'all called for it, and we're about the people, so we're going to make it happen to the best of my ability. Hopefully I can get this technology figured out, but hey, we're gonna make a run for it. But at some point in time, in between this whole diatribe of big time fights, we're gonna make it happen. If it don't work during the Inoue fight, we're gonna try it during one of the other major fights, like with the Undisputed fight, or like with some of the fights coming down the line in June, like with Tank or others. We're gonna see if we can make it happen. Trust and believe we're gonna make it happen for you all, because y'all deserve it, and I'm here for y'all. And plus, the more y'all do it, the more we can get these followers up, absolutely, and the bigger the community can be. So thank you so much for all your support. We're gonna look to make it happen. But all that aside, all that promotional appeal out the way, but we got boxing to cover, and since we got boxing to cover, it is time to step into the ring. That is right. Ring the bell. Let's get it started. Round one of this show underway. For the biggest story of the day, we have to talk about boxing, as we're repping the Allen Iverson shirt. Allen Iverson shirt for the culture. Brother, right now, the culture of boxing is in absolute disarray because Ryan Garcia has now been caught allegedly doping. Oh, it's happening. That's right, VADA had popped that brother positive for ostarine. I believe that's how you say the name, ostarine, and it's essentially a form of enhancing drug, firmly illegal on most, if not all, platforms of various testing industries, and on VADA especially. And now VADA's caught Ryan Garcia with doping, caught him on the 19th and the 20th, so I believe after the day, the testing of the day of and the day after, but the testing results didn't come out until just now, and this has brought an absolute firestorm to the rest of the boxing world to split people down the middle. We got Tank defending Ryan Garcia, but also saying if you are wrong in this and are in fact doping, I'ma beat you up to kingdom come. That's Tank's words, not mine, paraphrasing of course. But then we got other people saying that, yeah, Ryan Garcia, you cheated, you were never that good, you were never actually about that life. And so it's been a whole hotly contested thing. We got on Twitter Ryan Garcia showing his results, saying, yo, this was a micro dose or something along those lines, essentially saying that, yo, this is a very finite amount. There's no way that this is a legitimate thing. There's a bunch of stuff going around. I'm not here to speculate. We're here to give you the facts. The facts are on April 19th, and I believe on April 20th, it was shown by VADA as reported by was it Raphael? I believe that's his name. Dan Raphael works for ESPN as a boxing journalist. Came out and said that, yeah, VADA caught and tested positive from Ryan Garcia doping in his urine sample. So there is a bunch of stuff going around about what this means for that fight. Well, let's really break this down. What new boxing fans may not know, if you are a new boxing, which is combat sports, when you don't understand why this is all so volatile. When it comes to combat sports and boxing, in the UFC, or any fighting regime for that matter, doping is so horrible because it is seen as the ultimate disrespect. You are already putting your life on the line when it comes to the boxing game. That's why they say you don't play boxing. We have already seen people die in the past, in the ring before, as soon as a couple weeks ago. This isn't an uncommon thing. Sadly, since that's the case, when you are in this ring, you are supposed to come in with only your own abilities. There's no outside interference. There is no outside enhancements outside of what you do, what you put into your body in terms of right foods, right training, sleep, all of that stuff, and your innate talent and abilities is all what that is supposed to be in the confines of the squared circle or the octagon, if you're a UFC fan, whatever the case may be. And if you choose to bring something else outside of your own tangible abilities into the sport, you are then further putting somebody else's life at risk, and the playing field is no longer even. You are more threatening to somebody else's life than they are to you. It's not the same playing field. It's like both of you agree to hand-to-hand combat, and if somebody brings a knife to the fight, that's not right. It's not even. It's not fair. And since that's the case, when you do this, boom, automatically everybody's calling you to be banned. When it's true, you're out of here. It is severe, incredibly severe, and incredibly looked down upon in any form of cheating, let alone doping. Antonio Margarito, when he was, I believe, Margarito, when he fought against Miguel Cotto, wrapped his hands, cheated in that fight, bludgeoned him to kingdom come, and it was seen as, oh my gosh, he's so destructive. But in actuality, the brother had loaded wraps in his hands, and so when he was forced to fight him the second time and got destroyed when he fought him, got destroyed when he rematched Cotto, got destroyed when he fought against Pacquiao as well. Now it's a situation where he is synonymous with cheating, and he would never live that down, that he went out of his way to go and wrap his hands to be able to get an advantage on an opponent. It is despicable, cheating in combat sports. So if this is indeed true, and VADA did catch Ryan Garcia cheating, then brother, oh my gosh, all the momentum that you feel, that you built up, if you are Ryan Garcia, with you being in the ring and having one of the biggest wins of your career, now seemingly taken and done away with, no longer being seen as valid, no longer being seen as real, let alone as noteworthy, because you went and did the most taboo thing possible, cheated and doped in that win. Brother, that's horrible. That is so terrible. Speaks to it's hypocritical to everything that you were talking about. If you're Ryan Garcia, when you were building up to this fight, going on about Jesus, going on about your religion, about your faith, about your Christianity, all that stuff, standing up against the powers that be, that is what you were going on. That's what you're still standing on. And if this is indeed true, and VADA did catch you, and it is valid that this test is not something that is of their error, brother, oh my gosh, that shines an incredibly dark light on your abilities as a fighter and your respect that we have for you. Because you don't do that. You can't do that. It's so hypocritical, so dangerous, and it is spitting in the face at the sport and at every fighter that puts their blood, sweat, and tears and has sacrificed their life for this sport. The ultimate level of disrespect. And let's be frank, if this all indeed comes out after the whole 10-day period, after Ryan Garcia, no doubt, is going to give his own evidence for why this is invalid. If all of this is in fact true, and especially if it's true and he did it himself, let alone while we've seen other fighters, something gets in their system unbeknownst to them. It has happened before. Yes, it seems like a cop-out excuse. It has happened before. Let's put that precedent out there. We have seen fighters get stuff in their system from legitimately bad things that were out of their control and or put in by somebody else that wasn't their own. The whole, I believe Canelo Alvarez had doping in his system when he got popped, but it was from bad meat, allegedly, and I believe it got turned out to be true. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, please do tell me and research for yourself everything that I talk about. But the point still stands. We've seen it before when stuff gets in people's system, not because they wanted it in or because they put it in the first place, more so because it got put in them by something or someone else that wasn't of their own volition and or control. That is a whole nother can of worms. It's still bad that they cheated, because as a fighter, you're responsible for your camp and what's getting put around you and what's getting provided to you in order to be prepped for a fight. So you have to be on guard at all times, and the circle that you trust needs to also be audited every once in a while to make sure that everything is still on the up and up like it's supposed to be. So it still falls on the fighter. Don't get me wrong in terms of the responsibility, but the context still is something that has to be seen in its totality as to why things may happen. That doesn't change the fact in any way, shape, or form that this was not something and is not something that shouldn't be taken incredibly heavily, incredibly seriously in terms of what the outcome of this whole situation is going to be. Because again, if it is true that Ryan Garcia did in fact go and tamper and mess himself up with PEDs, willingly take this Austrian, in order to make this fight better, you call it like you see it. It's done. It's done and over. Not only should the thing be overturned, but a ban should be happening. It should. If it was taken and the test was valid, Ryan Garcia proves that it was not something that he did of his own volition and something that he was unaware of that popped him for this drug. As he showed in the Twitter post, apparently the drug that he got found in terms of Osterine was incredibly low for somebody that had been doping all the way up until the fight, as allegedly being claimed. That is, if it's true, and he popped outside of his own accord, not because of his own doing, then the fight should be overturned into a no contest, and there should be a rematch for Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia. Plain and simple. That's what it should be. If you got to find him, find him. Understand him. Because there's no room in this realm for doping. There isn't. And if somebody outside of or somebody in your camp did something to you that wasn't of your own accord, or something happened, again, context as to why. Because we've seen a lot of stuff happen. Then you get adjusted in terms of reprimanded, not adjusted, you get reprimanded accordingly. But with the context, understandable. I am not trying to advocate for doping. I'm not trying to advocate for, a way out, give him a second chance. No. Going off the track record of what we've seen with others. That's what we had to do. And even then, still, even if it wasn't their fault, got banned. Understandable. I'm not saying if a ban happens, the ban happens. There has to be a no nonsense rule when it comes to doping. That is unequivocal in my book. Absolutely. But if it doesn't happen and it still gets validated that he's tested positive, then I think it should be no contest for the fight, switched over, go for a rematch, immediate rematch. Devin Haney gets another shot at fighting Ryan Garcia. Once he recovers, Ryan Garcia must fight Devin Haney and can't fight anybody else until then. Can't move up, can't move down, can't get any titles, can't do anything. Until he goes and rematches Devin Haney in that fight, he can't fight anywhere else or fight anybody else. Period. He is stalled out until Devin Haney gets the rematch. And the strict testing has to be the entirety of the time. Like it was in this build up to the fight, but even more strict. That's what it should be. At minimum. And again, at maximum, 2-year ban. Like we've seen with other fighters before. I'm not trying to make this difficult. I'm not trying to play one side or the other. This don't need to have favoritism. I have no dog in this fight. We're just trying to react to. This is one of the biggest wins that we've seen, one of the bigger upsets that we've seen in this year of boxing that was supposed to make, or rather even further make, a big time star in Ryan Garcia. Now that has happened and he got popped legitimately, we have to sit here and say, well, wait a minute. Was it really you that made that fight happen? Was it really you that won that fight? Was it really you and your power that was making all the fireworks that was putting Devin Haney on the canvas? Was it you? That's what we have to ask. Now, with all that being said, Before the fight, we were speculating that Ryan Garcia had a puncher's chance because not only of his power and speed, but also because of Devin Haney's very susceptible chin. We had seen Linares hurt him. We had seen Lomachenko hurt him. So irregardless of drugs or not, still I think Ryan Garcia would have been able to hurt him. Doesn't change the fact that it still brings into question validly that this fight, would it have turned out the way it turned out now that stuff got popped? It's still, regardless of what I feel that the outcome would have been due to what we saw on that night, irregardless of doping, it is still, the question needs to be asked and the point still needs to stand that there is a real call for a rematch because you got something to help you, apparently. And since you got something to help you, allegedly, you weren't all just you. And it wasn't just you, your trainer, your corner, and your talent. So hence, a wrong has to be rectified. All the pitfalls that we could have seen Devin Haney falter to still would have been there. It still would have been there. The power of Ryan Garcia still would have been a very scary thing for Devin Haney. And the result may have still been the result, irregardless, because of what Ryan Garcia was, as we talked about him up until this fight. And again, before this fight, the power and the speed was not a surprise. We have seen this be attested and legitimately shown throughout his entire career. We had known that this was a real thing for Ryan Garcia. We had known that this was a real thing for him and his ability against somebody who was technically was better than Ryan Garcia in terms of all around his skill set. From the physical standpoint and the power standpoint, if he got caught, it was going to be really, really dangerous. We understood that. And very well, irregardless, if the outcomes could have still happened. But the point is, the question is now going to be asked. There is now a question on the result now, irregardless of whether we feel or not that it still would have been the same. You had help. You went seemingly and out of your way, and something was in your system to make you perform better, to make you gain weight better. Doesn't also hurt that you came overweight in the fight. What we thought was you just being not trying to dehydrate yourself and taking full advantage of what we've seen Devin Haney do against other fighters in the past, like I've talked about in the past on this very show in terms of ballooning up in weight. Now, all of that makes you look incredibly bad if you're Ryan Garcia. There is some real hardships that Ryan Garcia is about to face if this, in fact, is true. There is a lot on the line for him, even for Oscar De La Hoya and his own brand. Everybody can potentially be affected when it comes to what this potential outcome is going to be for the final verdict on whether or not Ryan Garcia did it or didn't do it. And again, we've seen Caleb Plant on Twitter go through and give his own walkthrough as to what VADA testing is like and why it ain't wrong. If you popped, there was something in you. If you failed to test and tested positive, there was something in you. VADA don't lie. From what I gather, VADA doesn't mess these things up. There has to be, they are transparent as can be. They surprise anybody and everybody with testing. You got to do what you got to do. And if you come up wrong, you come up wrong. And there's nothing else to it. That's what Caleb Plant was saying. And that's what the track record of VADA, from what I understand, that's what the track record of VADA has been for all of their existence. So there is some real stuff. There's some muddy waters now. There's some real muddy waters now. Was Ryan Garcia really all that? Is he really all that? Now, I'm going to hold my opinions on what he is as a fighter until after this whole thing goes down. Until after we get the final results. Or the final verdict from VADA as to what he had in the system and why he had it in the system. Once all of that comes out, I'll be able to give you a full, more detailed outcome in terms of my personal feelings. My only personal feeling right now is what is the whole of the context. How did he get it in his system? Who provided it? Was it from contaminated meat like we've seen others claim? Was it from him taking it outright? Was it from eggs like we saw with Conor Benn? Though that excuse was incredibly copious. The amount of eggs he had to eat to get the amount of drug that he had in his system in his system was absolutely ridiculous. No, you popped and that was just, you got caught. And it was a very bad way to try to say, oh yeah, I eat a lot of eggs, that's why it came up. No, it didn't. No, that is wrong. But this, I gotta hear. I'm not trying to say I want to hear, I want to see him succeed. I want to see him be wrong. I want to see him be wrong only because I don't want to see anybody doping. I don't want to see anybody willingly doing this and getting an advantage because it's spitting on the sport. Absolutely not. No, I don't want to see that at all. But if it did happen, I need to understand why. And the rightful consequences need to happen. Not going to hear me say, oh, he needs to be out the sport. No, not going to hear that. Not until the full thing comes out. And it's not because I'm trying to pander to Ryan Garcia fans or pander to Ryan Garcia as a favorite fighter. No, I don't care. I could care less about how I feel about him as a fighter. I only care about the results, what evidence he brings as to why it didn't happen, and if it lines up and or is valid by VADA. That's all I care about. And whatever that outcome is, I'm going to tell it accordingly. But I'm telling you right now, if this does turn out to be true, Ryan Garcia's cachet is going to dip. It's going to plummet. Plummet like we've never seen before. It was already a major hate train. But don't let that hate be validated. Now, no, you are going to be done. Oh my gosh. My goodness. Brother, it's going to be so bad. And whatever happens, we're going to track it all. This is a developing story. Stuff still has to pan out. Understandable. But we're going to track it. We're going to keep up with it. And on the side of Devin Haney, which I didn't get to mention, if Devin Haney, and if this turns out true, and Devin Haney did in fact get cheated, but this saves his face. This saves his face all the way. Because now he and anybody else that supports him can go and say, Ryan Garcia did not beat me. He cheated. He is a scoundrel. He went out of his way and had to beat me. The only way that he could beat me, was to get performance-enhancing drugs, was to pop dirty for PEDs, was to put something in his body, in his system. I've been the most disciplined champion. I've been the most consistent champion of anybody in this division, let alone of the four kings, quote unquote, that have been touted as the best in boxing. There's a reason why I was seen as pound for pound. There's a reason why I was one of the best in the world. I take this seriously. Ryan Garcia doesn't. Ryan Garcia is a hypocritical buffoon. This brother does not care about the sport. He doesn't care about the integrity of being a champion. He doesn't carry himself like a champion. He will never be champion. And if he fights me again on the same playing field, I will whoop in the kingdom come, because there will be nothing that will be able to save him anymore, because he won't be able to get away with being popped, or rather with having performance-enhancing drugs in the system to help a fighter as great as, or to help beat a fighter as great as me. That's what he could say. And all of his fans could say that as well. And heap on the absolute craziness that we saw from Ryan Garcia in the build-up to this fight. All that could go in his favor. If this does in fact sound true. Not sound true. If this does in fact turn out to be true when all is said and done. Absolutely. It's horrible if this is true. It's terrible if this is true. But it gives Devin Haney an opportunity to say, see, this brother isn't really better than me. It's just he had help that made him overwhelming. I came into this fight with already 3 rungs below because he was already 5 steps ahead due to him being on PEDs. Why do you think I got wobbled every time he touched me? Why do you think every time he caught me, I got hurt? Why do you think I was never able to recover when I did get knocked down? It ain't because he just hit so hard. It's because he had help. He popped dirty. All this is null and void now. That's what Devin Haney could do. And anybody that supports Devin Haney, that's what they can say. Validly, if all this turns out to be true. And the rematch could be right down the corner. And that would be, and hey, people said that they didn't want to see rematch then, after the fight. Now, however, they'll want to see rematch now. They will want to see a rematch now. If this all turns out to be true and Ryan Garcia did in fact cheat, they will want to see a rematch between them. Absolutely. Absolutely. So we're just going to have to wait and see how this all unfolds. And when it does, we're going to be right here for the ride. Right here to watch all of it unfold. Absolutely. I'm telling you, if Ryan Garcia did this, despicable and utterly terrible. Absolutely horrible. But moving on from that, we still have fights to cover in the world of boxing, like with Jaime Munguia versus Canelo Alvarez. That is right, for the undisputed title. Canelo Alvarez fighting a Mexican, which is something that we've been waiting on him to do. He said that he would never do. Now it's finally in the works. You're forgetting the works. It's happening this weekend on May the 4th, Cinco de Mayo weekend. Going to be one of the hottest events of the year. One of the best fights of the year in my estimation in terms of what will happen and the fireworks that will ensue. But with this fight, what will transpire and who will come out on top? Will we see an upset? Well, my breakdown of this whole thing is in fact that we will see Canelo Alvarez absolutely run through Jaime Munguia. We're going to see him destroy Jaime Munguia. It's going to be very entertaining. It's going to be incredibly fun. It's going to be incredibly action-packed and a fire fest for anybody to stay tuned. If there was any fight to watch, this would be the fight. But I can guarantee you right now, I think Canelo's going to win. And I believe Canelo's going to knock him out. And the reason being is because of this. And I've talked about this in the past. When I talked about whether Munguia was ready for Canelo Alvarez. He's not. Being 43-0. Having, I believe, 34 KOs, 30 plus KOs at minimum on his record. This is a man who has shown he belongs. He earned his right for the Canelo sweepstakes when he knocked out John Ryder. He earned his right to be seen as somebody who should be competing for an undisputed title. He's put in the work. He's put in the time. His name has now gotten out there. He beat somebody that Canelo beat in a fashion that Canelo couldn't do it in. Knocked down and knocked out John Ryder, something that Canelo couldn't do. Only knocked him down, wasn't able to knock him out. And in fact, John Ryder was able to get some success on Canelo as the fight was going on. Even though Canelo dominated the entirety of the affair, Munguia did a more devastating and demoralizing job on John Ryder than we saw Canelo do. It's just point blank period. You got to give props to him. Doesn't change the fact that he's still not ready. Still, that brother isn't ready to fight Canelo because he has so many habits that still are going to be so open for somebody like Canelo to adapt and overcome. Case in point, with Munguia being such an aggressive fighter, being such a relentless war machine that wants to take it to him, the epitome of a Mexican-style boxer, if you could ever find one. And that's a testament to him. Absolutely. We love to see him. Fan-friendly fighter that should have more acclaim than he does right now. Incredibly entertaining. But the issue is, all of that can fall flat on his face when you go up against such a technician like Canelo. He is not ready in terms of Jaime Munguia because his abilities are not up to snuff and they're not sharp enough. When he throws hooks, he throws them wide. When he throws his jab, even though it's aggressive and it's looking to close in distance, it is still slow and it's telegraphed. When he goes on the inside, he will either stay in there too long and or open himself up willingly for shots. He is willing to trade if you're Jaime Munguia. Munguia is willing to give a shot and take a shot in order to give more damage. He will sit in the fire and be ready to trade with you and bank on his heart and his power and his chin to be more than you in order to outwork you and outmuscle you and then eventually knock you out. That is what Munguia is about. It's an incredibly entertaining style. And I love it. Love to watch him fight. He's just not ready for Canelo. Because Canelo can do that on a ridiculously higher scale. Canelo's got defense when he comes in on the inside. Canelo's jab is sharper, even though I believe he's a shorter fighter in this fight. And with the shorter reach, I believe. Can't recall. Again, do your research for yourself. The point still stands. Canelo is going to be able to hit all the openings that Munguia is going to have. Like his guard. Ladies and gentlemen, the same thing that happened with Devin Haney is the same problem that we see with Jaime Munguia. And that means...
Hey, look at this! We got some problems here! We got some problems here!
We have some major problems when it comes to Jaime Munguia. Devin Haney and Jaime Munguia, when they throw their jab, they leave their guard down. When they throw their jab, when they throw it out there, their guard, near my facing it right, yeah, their guard, instead of being up here, is now down here by their chest, nearly by their shoulder, tucked in. So they're extending, but it's wide open. And when it's wide open, on top of the fact that Munguia doesn't move his head after he throws that jab, you're looking at a situation where it is easy pickings to get caught right on the chin. Caught right there by the vaunted left hook of Canelo. And Canelo, I know he sees it, and it's going to get exposed. Other people call that out as well. Showbiz the Adult, if you follow him, has called it. Other boxing fans and other boxers have called it out in the process. Munguia leaves his guard down. Devin Haney leaves his guard down. Both of them do. And because of that, they are susceptible to being countered. And if it's a trade, they're susceptible to getting KO'd. Getting the old Ezzard Charles. For those of you who don't know, Ezzard Charles, one of the greatest boxers of all time. Multi-division champion. Reign was dominant and was a brother, one of the greatest trade artists that we have ever seen in this sport. This man would sit in the pocket and was a savant at playing one of the most dangerous games of chicken that you will ever see in your life. And always won. Every time it was a punch for punch trade and both people were throwing, his punch was always sharper, was always quicker, and was always more devastating. And he was defensively sound and wouldn't get caught when he threw it. But it looked like he was staring death in the face. But the brother knew he was going to win every time. That's Ezzard Charles, one of the greatest boxers in history. Look him up if you ever get the chance. Absolutely phenomenal. But that is what we're going to see when it comes to Canelo versus Munguia. Munguia is going to be open for a counter. And either Canelo can catch and shoot with his high guard on the block like we've seen him do on multiple occasions, and or go and throw that that left hook. Because he ain't checking nothing. He ain't checking nothing. That left hook right down the pipe, right down the face of Munguia. As Munguia's throwing that jab. Be right there for the picking. And or it could be a situation where Munguia trades with his own hook and loses. Because Canelo's hooks are always sharper, precise, and they're always able to time you better than you can time him. If he goes for trading. If he goes for countering, we know Canelo's got the head movement, especially what we've seen with the revamped, healthy, resurged Canelo, like we saw against Jermell Charlo. Even though Jermell was the smaller man, yes, I understand that. Still, we saw head movement and we saw the semblance of, this is the complete Canelo that we've wanted to see for a while. That is the Canelo that came in that fight. That's the Canelo that we're going to see now. Somebody, especially against somebody who has a bunch of volume like Jaime Munguia, we're going to see Canelo go in, use defense, make him miss, and make him pay all night long. That's what we're going to see. Slip, 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 and once that hook comes, that's going to be telegraphed and flailing. He can pick his poison. Either he can trade like he's going to trade with the jab and or slip and counter and land a hook to the body or to the head. That's what's going to happen. And once we see Munguia feel the power and hurt by the power, that's when Canelo's going to have him in the palm of his hand. Because Munguia is going to do two things. Either he's going to shell up and start getting wary, or he's going to get aggressive and go for broke. Because again, that Mexican spirit doesn't lie, nor does it falter. And he's got it. He's got it in spades. It will burn inside of him to keep on pressing forward. Absolutely. That is what, because again, he's the epitome of a Mexican fighter. Wears his heart on his sleeve and will go to war and be a dog against anybody. Absolutely. But with that dog coming more aggressive, you only open yourself up more to opportunities to get caught over and over and over again by Canelo. That's what's going to happen. On top of the fact that we know Munguia doesn't have great defense. We know Munguia is a brother that will stand up. We know Munguia gets on his front foot and will be willing and open to be able to eat a shot. And with that posture that he comes with when he comes forward, yeah, you're susceptible to catch him coming in. There's a lot of holes with all the danger that he brings to the table. And with somebody like Canelo, he will be able to exploit them all. Because he got the sharpness, he's got the speed, he's got the defense and the head movement to be able to get out of dodge and manage all the firepower coming his way. On top of having the power to put Munguia to sleep. Yes, he does. Break him down and then shatter him. Or just outright KO him. He's got the power. And does Munguia, even though 34 KOs is legitimate, I believe 30 plus KOs in the 43 wins, it's legitimate. I'm not saying he ain't got crack. I'm not saying he ain't got pop. Yes, he does. I've said it in the past about Munguia. Oh, he can be a legitimate danger. Yes, he can. Absolutely he can. It's not like an upset is not possible. No, it is. And in fact, let me finish how Canelo can win. And then I'll get on how Munguia can win. Again, I have Canelo winning. But all of that, in terms of the skill set that we see with Canelo, in my opinion, is just too much for Munguia to be able to handle. And everything that he brings to the table is going to be something that Munguia hasn't been prepared for. Couple that with the lack of defense that we've seen from Munguia. And Munguia's defense is essentially his upped offense. I think it's going to be a bad night. I think we're going to see him knocked out within 7. I can see him knocked out within 7. Due to the accumulation of damage from the countering ability of Canelo. Or just put out outright early. Potentially. I'm not saying it's possible. I'm saying potentially. That's not a testament to the weakness of Munguia's chin. No, Munguia's chin is strong. His chin is durable. Absolutely. And his heart, it's unquestionable. It's just when you go up against somebody like Canelo, now, you might be pushed beyond your limit. And that's not saying that you aren't tough. That's just saying somebody else just got it. Somebody else just has it. More than you do. It just is what it is. Your body can only take so much, though the mind and the heart may not want to quit. That may be what we see. And I got it within 7. I got Canelo stopping and knocking out Jaime Munguia in an incredibly entertaining affair. Absolutely. Or by unanimous decision. That's what I have for this fight. But that doesn't mean that Munguia can't win. No, there is a way that Munguia can win. Munguia has the ability to win if he can get Canelo to gas out by overwhelming his senses. It's going to be a tall task, especially since Canelo's at his prime weight class of 168 at super middleweight. And this is the best Canelo that we've seen, in his words, not mine, saying nobody beats this version of Canelo, who's healthy, happy, and has all of his weight and faculties in order. Everything's set for him to succeed. Canelo's words. But he can still be beat if you can get him tired. We've seen Canelo tired against people like Bebo. We've seen him tired against people like John Ryder, losing gas. We've seen him tired against people like Gennady Golovkin. 3 separate instances of fights where we've seen him either gas out or the pace is slowed down due to him not being in the state that he needs to be in, or, like in Bebo's case, the work rate of somebody else was causing you to be so much on the defensive that the amount of energy you had to be just to be able to get through took something out of you. Now, granted, the situation is a little different with Bebo due to him being in higher weight class, moving up to 175. Never liked him at the weight class, said it was too far above his limit, hence why his gas tank suffered. Understandable. I get it. That still doesn't justify that at 168, when he fought against Gennady Golovkin, he did gas out. He did struggle in the later rounds, which allowed for Golovkin to get some momentum and get some success. I'm not saying that that's going to be, the end-all be-all, see, the aha moment. See, Canelo ain't really all that. I'm not doing that. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that this is a legitimate thing that can happen. And the work rate of Munguia could force Canelo into a fight that maybe even he isn't prepared for in terms of the relentless, constant pressure. Never being able to sit and facilitate what you want to do. Always having to react in the midst of the storm. It can be tiring if you have to deal with that for 12 rounds. It's possible. It is possible that he can get him to a state where Canelo slows down just enough that now his volume can really take hold if you're Jaime Munguia, because now you can't react to everything because your gas tank is below the threshold necessary. While my gas tank will continue to be on that same top level. We've seen Munguia go for broke and still be fine 5 rounds later. Canelo, not saying that he gets tired, but I'm saying that relentless pressure could be something that affects him. Very well could. And then when that comes into play with the overwhelming offense, now something's getting through. That's what we could see Munguia back on, or Munguia rely on, fall back on. That's the word I was trying to say. And if that does happen, we could see an upset in the making. We could very well see an upset in the making. We could very well see Munguia do the impossible. We could very well see Munguia come out and actually do what we thought couldn't be done and beat Canelo Alvarez. We could see it. We could absolutely see it. That's not out the question. Not out the question at all. I just don't think it's going to happen. I really, even with all that, I don't think it's going to happen. And I think we're going to see Canelo fight and win against Jaime Munguia. And now that we see that, we could then see the fight that we all want to see. Canelo versus David Benavidez. Finally, that could happen. Now that he's fighting the Mexican. Now that he's defending his belts. Now that, again, after this, he would have cleaned out successfully everybody. And the public keeps on ramming down the minds of everybody in the boxing realm and down Canelo's mind. We want Benavidez. We need Benavidez. Where's Benavidez? The same message over and over and over. First Take Stephen A. asked him about it. Everybody's been asking him about it. You can't run from this forever. And since you can't run, you might as well face it head on. Especially since the money now is going to be bigger than ever. It's just the truth. Yes, David Benavidez right now is looking to fight at light heavyweight. Make his run at a title eventually. Maybe at a title right now, potentially. No, not at a title right now, because again, Bivol and Beterbiev, they got the titles. But again, he wins against, what was his name? What was the name of the man he's fighting right now? It is a long name he fought before. Hold on. Give me 1 second. This is live, y'all. This is live. We're not ashamed to look up what we don't know, or rather what we forget. Let's see. David Benavidez versus, that's who it was. Alexander Gvozdyk. I believe that's his name. If I'm saying it wrong, please, I apologize. But Alexander Gvozdyk is his name. If I'm saying it wrong, please forgive me. But fighting against Alexander at super lightweight, light heavyweight, my apologies. That's what we're seeing Benavidez do right now. But I guarantee you, if Canelo after this fight says that, you know what, I want Benavidez now, hey, we could see Benavidez said, all right, bet, call that fight off. Pay Alexander whatever he's got to. Come back down to 168, make that fight happen. We could very well see it. And I would love it. Everybody would love it. This is what we need. This is what we need. It's what we've been waiting on. The door continually keeps creaking open. He keeps saying publicly, yo, I'm willing to fight if the money's right. I hate the fact that he's trying to price himself out, but still, doors creaking open more and more and more. Now going on again on First Take was saying, hey, I'll fight Munguia and Benavidez on the same night and beat them both. So hey, he's got the bravado. He's got the confidence. More power to him. Make the fight happen. Handle your business if you're Canelo. Make the fight happen. When you do that, we'll be happy. We'll be happy and we will be waiting. We will be happy and we will be waiting to see what you do. Absolutely. But again, still we got more boxing to cover. As even beyond that fight, on May 6th, we got the best boxer in the world, Naoya Inoue, fighting against Nery in again, an undisputed championship fight to further to further build on the legacy of Naoya Inoue as he has been cruising through everybody in the division. This is going to be a hotly contested fight. This is going to be a fight that people may think it's just going to go one way. I do too. But then in terms of the fireworks, oh, this could be exciting. This could be incredibly exciting. But in terms of Lewis Nery versus Inoue, let's break down the fight, shall we? What's going to happen as this fight takes forward? Well, we got Inoue, who's undefeated, I believe 24-0, 23 KOs, if I'm not mistaken. Lewis Nery, 35-1. And I believe of 20 plus KOs on his record, a knockout savant at the division. This brother got heavy hands and can crack and is a real monster for anybody in terms of he's not the monster, no, but in terms of like the danger, oh, he's legitimate. He is a monster in the division. And this brother is legitimate. He's got the experience, he's got the power, he's got the heart, he's got the dexterity. Another Mexican fighter like Jaime Munguia, who is able and willing to go to war with anybody in the division. This is a man who's got heart, who's got talent, and who's got the real chops to give Inoue some real trouble. And how he could win, honestly, he's only got a puncher's chance. Normally, I'm able to give a very solid backing of how each fighter could win. I can't do that in this fight. And it's only with Inoue. Only with Inoue and Crawford can I really see if you are not anywhere close to that level. There's no way you can win. There's no, I can't see. For the life of me, I can't see. Inoue is going to knock him out. Like he's done with all of his other opponents. He's going to knock him out. And it's not because Nery isn't bad. No, Nery's good. Nery is good. Nery is indeed good. He's already won. Everybody said, I never bought into the thing of you got to win over there to be able to be great, or you got to come over here to be great. No, you're great where you are. You're great if you're great, and who you face makes you great. Plain and simple. Who you face, how you fight in those fights makes you great regardless of location. But home field advantage is something in terms of your hometown fans supporting you. I understand that is a thing. I don't doubt that. But we've seen, for those who detract that from boxers in terms of, oh, he's never done this, that, or the third, Nery's fought and won in Japan twice recently. So it ain't like it's something that is, out the question. He's been there, done that, gone in enemy territory and won. So he is indeed legitimate, proven. He's chiseled and has been tested. So let's not put that as a detracting statement. He's for real. He's legit, but he's not going to win. And it's because of one main thing. And that is the fact, similar to Canelo and Munguia, excuse me. Nery and Inoue is going to be a battle, most likely, of countering. It's going to be a battle of counter. We're going to see Inoue counter Nery to Kingdom Come. And it's due to the fact that Nery, when he gets going, he overcommits and gets too aggressive. By that I mean, this is a brother who, once he gets going, he throws in flurries, he throws in bunches, and he loves to do it. It's fun and exciting. That's why he's got so many knockouts on his record. Great. Power and combination punching, with some good speed to boot. But it's the fact that he will be overzealous and is willing and able to stay in the pocket too long. Once he gets in, he will stay in. And once he gets his combinations rolling, especially if the brother's got confidence, they'll keep coming. They'll keep punching. He'll keep the steamroll. The train will keep on moving. But Inoue is going to take the tracks out. And we will see Inoue either do two things. Even though Inoue can fight in every style imaginable. Inside, outside, can outbox you. Can beat you in the mid-range. Can in-fight you. Can out-muscle you. Can out-slick you. And out-heart you. We know this. Virtually one of the most perfect fighters in the modern day boxing, if not that we've ever seen in the sport, from what I've seen. But he's either going to enjoy the fire, stick his face right in the fire with Nery and say, hey, let's go for broke, like he did against Apollos in that firefight, that war of an undisputed championship fight. It was insane. Get Apollos pots to him, took Inoue anyway further than we ever thought anybody would take anyway. But still, Tapales succumbed when Inoue did what he did. When Inoue turned into Inoue. And Inoue turns into Inoue in any given situation. But again, reeling it back in. Inoue, he will either stick with his guns, go in a firefight with Nery. Say, you want to brawl? Let's go for it. I'm all about it. I'm hands down and everything. He will do it. We've seen him do it before. Or he will go and wait and catch Nery with a single shot that ends the entire night. Either way, Nery's getting knocked out. Either he can go for broke. Both of them can go for broke. And Inoue's speed, power, reach, and better ability and IQ in all facets on top of the sharper and cleaner punching is going to get him out of there. And or we see him wait in the pocket, outbox him, look to counter, and then catch him and end him. That's what can happen. Even a third outcome can happen, and we see Nery turn into Paul Butler, which is ridiculous to say because Louis Nery is a legitimate dog. But we've seen Inoue turn people that should be better into absolute amateurs. Somebody looks like they don't even belong in the ring, don't even want to fight after they feel the power and explosiveness of somebody like Inoue and get a gauge of what the speed truly is being in front of them. We've seen it. We saw him do it against Paul Butler. Saw him do it against Stephen Fulton. We've seen this before. We saw him outclass Nonito Donaire the second time and whoop him, make him look like he didn't belong in the ring after their war the first time around. Tapales, he fought Tapales' game and beat him. He can do it in any way, shape, or form. But it's because he'll take the easiest path to victory. I can see him looking to counter and not pot shot, but counter and power shot Louis Nery with a one clean hook. It could be a right straight down the middle. It could be a hook. When Nery tries to jab and come on the inside, it could even be an uppercut, which I would not be surprised. If it was an uppercut through Nery's got high guard, that starts the beginning of the end. But either way, we're going to see Nery shell up. We're going to see Nery get to a point where he's outmatched and knows it and either get desperate or get defensive. Either way, it ends in knockout. Either way, it ends in knockout. If it doesn't and we see an upset of the century, I give props to him. There's nothing else I can say. Nothing else I can say. Except I was wrong and I had no shot. I saw this completely go in one direction and still do. And maybe we see Nery's power be able to be the thing that, hey, it was enough. It was enough to catch him. It was enough to hurt him. It was enough to take him out. Maybe so. But I don't think it's going to happen. I think we see Inoue take care of business and walk through Louis Nery and continue his reign of dominance as an undisputed champion. Continue to keep on not only dominating, but just moving up into the ranks and becoming further, more and more and more. No, excuse me. Oh gosh, bad grammar. And continue to elevate himself into the annals of history as being one of the most dominant boxers that we've seen in the history of the sport. That's what I can see happen. But with all that being said, with the boxing now out the way, we still got more to cover with the NBA. Because with the NBA, as we transition into the world of basketball, the playoffs are here, and brother, they are insane. So much stuff has happened. I've been able to get with it, sadly, because I've been busy. I've been keeping up with this and being able to record the show like I want to. But my gosh, talk about some stuff that has been going on in the world of basketball. First off, let's start with the biggest elephant in the room, even before the Lakers and the Nuggets. Timberwolves and Suns. Brother, we got a dog that has been born in the NBA, and that is Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards has gone through an absolutely, this brother's something's different. This cat's something different. He's something special. You see Dr. J behind me. You saw how much of a cultural, impactful force that this brother was, and you looked at him and said, man, this cat, he's just different. Brother, that's Anthony Edwards. It's Anthony Edwards. There is a level of leadership and dominance and a go-get-him attitude that we've seen from Ant that is just, it's so pretty to see. We saw it in terms of like the sign of, oh my gosh, this brother's next. We saw it with Jordan. We saw it with Kobe. We saw it with LeBron. We saw it with Luka when he came into the league and just started dominating. We're seeing it with Ant as another dog that's getting ready to run through everybody, that wants all the smoke and he's ready to take on anybody. That is Anthony Edwards. This kid averaged 25 in the series and went at KD every chance he got. Dunked on KD, one of the best dunks of not just the year, but of the playoffs of his career, one of the biggest highlights of his career. Outplayed KD, seemingly. Was just, took out his heart, took out everybody's heart, wasn't afraid of anybody. This man has turned this Timberwolves squad into a bigger and bigger threat every time he steps out on the floor. And now that they face the Denver Nuggets, which again, I will get on that Nuggets and Lakers series, absolutely. But now that they're facing the Denver Nuggets, brother, with them being one of the best defensive teams in the league, and with having Rudy Gobert and Karl-Anthony Towns and Jaden McDaniels and the rest of that squad, like Mike Conley, on top of not only being the best player on the team, but being one of the best defenders on the squad as well, we are looking at a team that could actually take out this Denver Nuggets squad. We are. It's not out of the question to say that. As dominant as we see the Nuggets being, and my pick to win the finals, absolutely. And repeat, do not be surprised if we see the Timberwolves not get a game, but give this team a run for their money, potentially take this to 6 or 7, because they're like that. They are like that. Don't get it twisted. I'm not trying to buy into the overhype. I'm not trying to be blinded by recency bias. No. Nuh-uh. This team's got it. This team has it. Anthony Edwards has it. And they're going to be something serious. Second round of the playoffs is about to be insane. I can't wait for what comes next. That is going to be a tantalizing series. Don't say that Nikola Jokic plays boring basketball now. Well, after this series. But it's going to be entertaining to watch. I can't wait for it. But beyond that, on the flip side with the Suns, but now the Suns are in turmoil. The Suns are in a co-red situation. Again, in the words of JR.
Hey, look at us. We got some problems here. We got some problems here.
We got problems. We got some major problems. We got some serious problems when it comes to the Phoenix Suns. Because the Phoenix Suns right now are in a situation where they put all their chips in one basket and it fell flat on their face. They got swept. Let's put that into the real perspective. They got swept. They got put out in dominant fashion. They were outmatched and outclassed in every way, shape, or form. Timberwolves handled business on a major scale. And the Suns underperformed to the fullest extent. This is going to be a do-or-die situation now for the Phoenix Suns. What moves need to be made now when it comes to Phoenix and KD and Beal and Booker? And right now, the moves may be a trade. It's looking like, reportedly, that that Booker not only likes to be a Knick, but potentially will be traded to the Knicks, as the Knicks are being put in a prime position, or rather are positioning themselves to target Booker, to get him to pair with Jalen Brunson to play over their next season. That's what rumors are circulating with the front office down in New York land, down in Knick land. It's going to be a very interesting story. But the point is, right now, Suns have to make a move because this isn't going to work. We said it at the start of the year. This is not going to work when it comes to this series. It's not going to work when it comes to what this team can be as a whole. As a whole, it's not going to be able to do it. We can't see this squad be successful because we have too much money on too little options. We got KD, Booker, and Beal taking up almost the entirety of the Phoenix Suns contract, and you now have Bradley Beal wetting the bed in the playoffs, producing nothing. I repeat, absolutely nothing when it comes to this series. He was the weakest link and the worst link when it came to the Suns. This whole series with Timberwolves. He was a liability. He was. We just had to call it like we see it. He was a liability. And now he's still getting paid all this money. They can't win with him. They can't win with the three of them together, taking up all this cap space and don't have anybody else that can really play. They don't. When it comes to playoff time and competitiveness, and it comes to, okay, now you're playing against the best of the best for 7 games, you don't have it. You don't got it. This is not it. And this is the grave that Kevin Durant made for himself. Kevin Durant put himself in this situation. Did the same thing in Brooklyn. Did the same thing in Golden State. Now he's going to face the same consequences over on the Suns. You only value the offensive output that you can make instead of the team dynamic that you have. that makes you a real championship contender. No. It's got to be. KD is in part, not even in part. He wouldn't have gone to the Suns even if he didn't think that this is the type of team that he was going to have. But this type of roster that he continues to like to have isn't working. These just pure hoopers aren't it. They're not it. You need a team. You need a team around you. And taking all the money, while I want athletes to get their money, if you want to be on a championship squad, sometimes sacrifice has to be made. In this situation, the sacrifice is the revenue. Brother, you are not going to get where you want to go and show that you can win with just you as the leader without you sacrificing something. And if everybody's trying to get the same pot and saying, oh yeah, all we need is us three to survive, it's not it anymore. No, it's not. You can't, because that's not what this NBA is about anymore. Kevin Durant has shown right now he is not able, with this constructed roster, to win a championship. He just can't. He can't do it. And the Suns have to make a move and somehow make this team a team. Not a three-headed monster, a team. You don't want this to be a big three anymore. You want this to be a team. And on Kevin Durant specifically, this is hurting your legacy. Again, proving that, man, you had 3 stars, all this money, all this talent that you put around you that you wanted, that you orchestrated, and you again get knocked out in the first round. Brother, what's going on with you? What is going on with you? That's what's being talked about with you if you're Kevin. What in the world is going on with you when it comes to you as a leader? And it's, to a degree, it shouldn't be that those are the conversations that we're having, because Kevin Durant's been playing some of the best basketball since he left Golden State. He's averaged 30, 3-4 times? Just about, in an era that everybody's averaging 30. He's had some of his best scoring seasons post-Achilles injury, post-Warriors, post-comeback. So it ain't like he isn't playing well. It isn't like he isn't pulling the weight. No, he is, which is what makes this even worse. He's doing his part. Kevin Durant is doing his part. Kevin Durant is making his weight be felt on the entire organization. His value is being played up to a degree, playing beyond, because of what he's doing on a night-to-night basis. You can't say nothing about him in that Phoenix series. Phoenix, he played well. Phoenix played horrible. He played well. He did what he was supposed to do. Booker too. Beal didn't. Grayson Allen was injured. I believe he was injured. And other pieces just didn't show up. The team didn't show up, but he did. He did what he needed to do. No, I'm never going to hold you against that. No, you individually showed up. No problem there. But the stigma's going to be, see, look at him. Can't win for nothing. Still can't get out the first round. That's going to be what's going to be held against you. That's going to be what's hurting you. That's going to be what is holding you back in terms of how people view your legacy. Continuing to compound on the hate that you got from Golden State in that move. That's what it's going to be. And I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying that's what's happening. But you yourself are not doing anything wrong if you're Kevin Durant in terms of your individual play. But the teams that you're orchestrating, that is wrong. That's a problem. That is a real hindrance on your ability. That is bringing you down. And you got to fix it. Front office moves got to be made. Because it's just not it. It's just not it. It ain't Frank Vogel's fault. Frank Vogel is a good coach. But it could be that after this round, one and done, we could see Vogel out of there. And a full shakeup of this whole organization. Stuff's getting interesting over in Phoenix, over in Arizona. And we're gonna watch it all, but my goodness. Brother, some answers need to be chosen. Answers need to be chosen when it comes to that Phoenix Suns squad. And the answer needs to be that we can't live with this big three forever. Sacrifice some money. Get some stuff off our contract. And let's build some better rotational pieces. So everybody can compete behind KD and Booker. Now we got a two-headed monster that's backed by legitimate goons. We can make some noise now. We can play defense and have a dominant offense. But at this point in time, Oh, buddy. That's not what it's looking like. That's not what it's looking like at all. But also now moving on to the Lakers in Denver. And Denver beating the Lakers. Again, Lakers got to win. Props to them. Hey, you can celebrate that. Lakers got one. At minimum, they got one. Thank goodness they got one. Broke that 12 game win streak that we saw Nikola Jokic have on him. But now there's still questions, or rather there needs to be answers that come about with this loss to Denver. While it was all competitive, while it was consistent that they were in the game nearly every time, still, it's not enough. And to a degree, it's because of coaching. Not even to a degree. One of the biggest changes need to be made, coaching, right now. Right now. Haney needs to be fired. And thank the Lord, we're going to see him fired. Because reportedly, within the week, this brother's going to be out of here. He's going to be out of here. Haney's going to be gone. That bald-faced brother with his hands in his pockets is no longer going to be on the Lakers organization. We're in the NBA entirely. Going to go on his exit interview saying all this stuff about how if you got a player that's, again, saying, keeping it PG, that is messing up the bed 10 games in a row. Well, what can you do with that? Well, you know what you do? You coach around it. You bump. You absolute, you despicable bump when it comes to coaching. But you are nothing more than a motivational speaker. That is it. You make all this of this, that, and the third going out after you get knocked out. Oh, well, when it comes to my job, everybody's got something to say. Yeah, because you ain't doing your job. That's what. Absolutely acting stupid. And can't make an adjustment for nothing. Forget being a Lakers fan. It was just hard watching the Lakers because of you. You mean to tell me in the last game when Vando and Christian Wood were healthy and you needed defensive stops? Especially when the Nuggets were getting momentum. You didn't put Vando in. You didn't put Christian Wood in. Especially when AD got hurt. My gosh. It's stupidity at its finest. That doggone knot that you got on the top of your head ain't because you got hit. No, it's because your butt is thinking overly aggressively about what the word you don't need to do. That's what that is. A devilish horn. Because you acting evil. When the way that you coach this squad. Players lost faith in you. Fans lost faith in you. I lost faith in you. Nothing but a bump. Absolutely a bump. Despicable. What we saw you do to this Lakers organization for 2 years. Got to the Western Conference Finals on a hope and a prayer because of LeBron and AD. Not because of you. Definitely wasn't because of you. LeBron vetoing plays like he said in his podcast. You got people tuning out to you. Can't even draw up a play by the time a timeout ends. Ain't got nothing good to say to anybody. Getting hurt because people judging a coaching job that you did. That was horrible. When you can't make simple moves, simple stuff, it's when stupidity gets to this high of a level. It makes you really think, how the world do people like this get opportunities? It really does. And people like Mark Jackson still are unemployed when it comes to the coaching side. Absolutely ridiculous. Hurts my soul that we got to go through this. And when we talk about Darvin Ham, now that he's looking like to be fired and erased from existence, the biggest thing that hurts is the fact that this is a man who last season found consistency with the Western Conference Finals, yet to this day was still experimenting with rotations when he had exactly what he needed to make his team work, to make his team go, when he had a level of consistency and a working system. He kept on changing it, kept on experimenting, kept on messing up what didn't need to be messed up. It irks me to the core, irks my soul, makes me so upset and so mad. Get 2 years wasted of LeBron. Wasted not because of the success, because again, anything can happen in the NBA. But when you are a head coach of somebody, or when you're the head coach of a player that great, and you perform that despicably, that outright egregiously, that overwhelmingly bad to the point that there is no saving face. There is no context that can be given to how decrepit you were and you are as a coach It makes me sick. It makes me sick. Thank goodness that the Lakers are being gifted a chance to get Vogel back on the roster, since Vogel's being talked about as being put out of the Suns and let go because it's one and done debacle. Hey, get Frank Vogel on this squad and you get some defensive pieces more around him. Get back to that defensive-centric mindset that we know Frank Vogel's about. With the way the 80's been playing defensively, hey, great, phenomenal. Even Griffin, who got let go from, got let go from the Bucks. If he's still on the market and or going to be on the market this season, get him. You got opportunities to make a coach that works and makes sense. Don't be stupid. Because again, this is LeBron's the contract ends this year. He's a free agent. He can go wherever the world of wind blows. Reports are he's planning on signing a 2-year contract with the Lakers. And he says he's got about 2 to 5 more years left in his life as a basketball player. Hopefully he lives an incredibly long life, but in terms of career-wise basketball, potentially 2 to 5. He's still giving you this level of all NBA production. You cannot afford to mess this up. You can't do it. You can't afford to mess this up. You have one obligation. One obligation is to make this work. Keep him happy. Give him the pieces to be successful. Any team can trade. And man, if anybody grabs his son, LeBron's gone and going there. Like I said, they're adamant that they will draft Bronny to keep with LeBron's wishes of playing with the son. If anything, just to keep him here. He'll do it. They'll do it. Absolutely. Issue is, you can lock him down now. Make the requisite moves. Make the requisite moves. Because if he's gone, AD won't be too far behind. Guarantee. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. AD won't be too far behind. You'll be back into the poverty franchise that you turned into when Kobe first left. Or rather, when Kobe was demanding to get more pieces, or he's dipping due to their team going absolutely abysmal. Having players I can't even remember on the roster. One of the worst Lakers squads I've ever seen in history. It was horrible. That's what you all are on the verge of. If LeBron leaves. If he's gone, there's nothing else for y'all. Nothing else for you. Nothing. Not one iota of hope. Not one. It's on you all to make this happen. It really is. Because LeBron ain't waiting around. Neither are his fans. You mess this up, hey. He did his time. He got y'all a chip. He's done all he needed to do. He can go everywhere he wants to go. But you have an opportunity to make him stay. It starts with not just getting Bronny, if you get him, but getting a quality coach that can actually produce and knows how to find consistency, can stick with the rotation that works, and adapt when it's time to adapt. Unlike that bum, that schmuck, that outright delusional, deceptively irritating, ignorant man in Darvin Ham. Once he's gone, happy days are here again potentially. Everything can only go up from there potentially, depending on what you do. But it's still possible. But it's up to you. Oh gosh, it's up to you. Also, finally, as we cover everything, because again, we can't as all the playoffs are going on, every game ain't entertaining to cover. Again, Celtics to beat the Miami Heat. Woo, woo, woo. Oh my. Who expected that? Now, they ain't nothing major. Can't wait to see them going up again. And if they win, they face off against the Magic and or the Cleveland Cavaliers. They're going to mop them as well. So we can already predict what's going to happen there. Also, we got Clippers and Mavericks. Actually, that's the biggest thing. Clippers and Mavericks. As we are starting to close out the show. Clippers and Mavs. When they face off against each other. Mavs are up 3-2. My goodness. Mavs are up 3-2 on the Clippers. Clippers are supposed to be healthy with Kawhi and PG and Westbrook, who's been playing well. This is very interesting. Very interesting indeed. because this brings a big question for the Clippers, more so than it does in terms of the praise of the Dallas Mavericks. Again, Dallas Mavericks, phenomenal. Hey, Luka and Kyrie, absolutely insane. Love it. Love that pairing. Love the ability. Love what they've both done as a duo together. Kyrie can take over at any point in time, so can Luka. Kyrie will take a back seat to Luka, and then when it's time for the third and fourth quarter, explode for whatever he wants to do. Insane. Lively as a center, perfect pairing for somebody like a Luka Doncic. In the last game that the Clippers played against the Dallas Mavericks, they put up only 93 points. Dallas beat them, I believe, 123 to 93. I believe so. Yeah, that's right. 123 to 93 in absolute, just whitewash, shellacking. I mean, it was just domination left, right, and center. And even more so than the dominance and the impressive nature that we're seeing from Luka and Kyrie and the rest of that squad. This, if they lose this series in the Clippers, this is a turning point where we got to make something's got to change. Something's got to go. Something's got to move. We can't. This is a breaking point for me. In terms of something's got to give when it comes to what the Clippers can be. Because they've had this roster for a couple years. They've had Kawhi and PG for a decent amount of time. And it just hasn't panned out. As long as they've been together, it just has not panned out for what they've been able to achieve. And seemingly this team on paper consistently has looked like they are a team that can make a finals. A team that can be successful. A team that can do what we all think they can do, which is be a real finals contender. That's what we say about this squad. It's not out the question. It is real. This is a team that looks like they can be better than what they are. They look like they're better. They look like they should be better. They feel like they should be better than this. But they're not. They're not. I mean, it boggles my mind. And it's not working. It's not working together with what they are. It just isn't. It's since it's not, the question becomes who's going to be let go? What's going to happen? Who is going to be, where's the change going to be made? Where, in fact, is this change going to be made? What change is going to be made when it comes to this squad? Because, let's be perfectly honest, at this point, they've gone through many iterations. They've had Patrick Beverly. They've had PG Tucker. They've had quality role players. They've had quality star players. Everything seemed like they were built to be better than what they are. And they just keep on dropping the ball. If they get knocked out in the first round against Dallas, it's a real sign of somebody might have to get traded. Somebody might have to get traded. They might have to. Something has to go. Something has to change. Somebody has to move in order to really be able to do what they want to do. Because it's just not okay. This isn't okay. It's not okay. As what they are as a roster, it's not okay because they keep on failing and faltering. Every time it seems like they have everything that they're supposed to. Every time it seems like they are on the track that they're supposed to be on, they keep letting everybody down. They just do. Either Kawhi gets hurt, PG gets hurt, they're both healthy, but one underperforms. They both underperform. They both play well, but everybody else isn't able to do what they're supposed to do. Or they're healthy, they play well, and then they get hurt. Something always happens when it comes to this squad. And it's a real questioning situation that really scratches my head to try to understand what can be done. Really. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not trying to be hyperbolic. I'm not trying to be overreactionary. What can be done with this team to be successful? What can be done with this squad to turn into what it needs to turn into? And it might have to be, somebody might have to get traded. It just might have to be. Potentially. Clean house and restart. Or at least look at that point. Because it's been a couple years now and stuff ever since Kawhi went to LA the first time. Said it's my city. It's my town. LeBron's won a championship. And the Clippers have continued to always fail to live up to expectations. Always. Regardless of the lineup. Always. Consistently. It's what are you going to do? If you're Steve Ballmer, if you're the GM, if you're Kawhi and PG, if you're Ty Lue, you fail against Dallas this time. First round. Exit. There's a real question needs to be asked about what and where Dallas can do. Excuse me. What and where the Clippers can go and do to make this roster better and to get over the hump of being under the expected level of somebody who has two of the best players in the world. And when healthy, in terms of Kawhi, top 5 player in the world, because he is. When he's healthy, absolutely he is. What can, the chips got to fall and something's got to go. Something's got to change. Something has to change. Something has to change. What that something is, I don't know, but something's got to change because it can't work. This can't be the same. Because if it is, it's going to be the same result. So this next game with the Clippers in Dallas is going to be very pivotal. Pivotal for what the potential future of the Clippers is going to be. And will we see a potential post-Kawhi or PG era in Clipper land? Now after this, only time will tell. We'll have to wait and see. With all that being said, this has been another episode of The Welch Report with me, Jean-Luc Welch. Thank you for tuning in and listening to the show. Again, we thank you for all the support. Thank you for all the love. And we will be right back on with more episodes coming up in the future. We still have so much more to cover as the sports world continues to evolve and change. Everybody be safe, be blessed. I've been Jean-Luc Welch. Y'all have been wonderful. Follow us on, again, every Instagram and Twitter platform with links below. You got us on every podcasting platform. Links below. Like the video, comment your thoughts and opinions, share with everybody, and please, please, please get ready. We still got so much more to cover as we continue to evolve this show for you, the people, because you all deserve it. So again, I've been Jean-Luc Welch. Y'all have been wonderful. Peace and love. We are out of here.